Hello and welcome back to the 406-411 with Bethany and Michael. I'm Bethany.
And I'm Michael.
And today we're going to be talking about the knees.
The knees.
The knees.
The devil is this.
They're the thing between your feet and your upper... No, I'm just kidding. If you go out east of Brady about 25 miles, you'll come across this huge butte in the middle of the prairie. And it is flat out there. And this butte shoots up out of the prairie about 200 feet. That butte is called the Big Knee. Now you go a little bit further and you come across what's called the Little Knee. So it's these twin buttes that are just kind of out in the middle of this vast prairie ocean. Have you ever been out there? Have you seen them?
I can't say as I have been out there.
Oh, they're beautiful.
No pun intended. Beautiful. Get it? Yeah. You love it.
Yes. So it's this really interesting geological anomaly just in the middle of all of this farmland. So it's pretty cool. There's an area out there that is referred to as the Knees community.
I was going to say, so what's the significance of said knees?
Well, there is the Knees community. And I think we'll get into that in another podcast when we can have a special guest come in and talk about that.
Okay.
But we'll talk about the knee itself, primarily the Big Knee, because that's the one that I have been to.
Well, okay then.
Yes.
I know I've seen it from when you pointed them out when we went up to the $1 Million Mistake.
Yeah.
You did point them out.
You can see them there, and if you're coming up, is it 15 from Great Falls to Conrad?
I-15, yeah.
Yeah, when you're coming up 15, you can see them there off to the east of the freeway.
By Brady.
By Brady.
Okay.
Yep, by Brady. So they're called the knee. Do you know why they're called the knees?
I haven't the foggiest.
They're called the knees because there's a Native American legend that it is a buried giant. There's two different versions of it. One is the giant's head and shoulders are the Sweetgrass Hills.
Okay.
They're the ones up by Canada, right?
Yeah, up there outside of Sunburst area.
Right. Yeah. So that's where the giant's head and shoulders are. And of course, his knees would be the knees.
Right.
And then his feet would be the hills around Great Falls.
I have never heard this.
Yes. And there's also, in this great book, Echoes of the Knees. It's a great book.
Which we have here at the museum. If you need to do some research.
We do have it here at the museum. There's another story where it's just the opposite. And the head and the shoulders are in Great Falls, and the knees are the knees, and the feet are the Sweetgrass Hills.
Interesting.
So, whichever way you think he's laying down, his knees line up with these two buttes.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, so this butte has, if you go, there's a road you can take to go up to the top of the Big Knee.
Okay.
And it's pretty rough. If it's rough weather, if it's muddy, forget it.
Gumbo?
Gumbo.
Oh, Lord.
Pasty gumbo. That will stick to your wheels.
I think we need to take a road trip.
Yeah, you really should go up there.
Yeah.
If you get a chance to, go up there when there's a clear sky, because there is no better place on Earth for stargazing. It's amazing up there on a clear night.
Maybe next year when the Northern Lights roll back. That'd be a good place.
Yeah, I tend to think that the stars kind of show off a little bit too much up there. I think it gets a bit showy with all of the stars up there. It's
self-indulgent stars.
Yeah, it's a bit much. So no, but if you go up there, there's all these really interesting rock formations because it's sandstone, and the wind erodes the sandstone, so you get these pillars with these big mushroom top.
Well, like a hoodoo?
Yeah, kind of. Here, I'll show you a picture.
I get picture time.
Yeah, right there's a picture of
those
some
are hoodoos, just like what you would see up there by Rock City, just north of Aleer, if you've ever been to that.
I haven't. But...
You haven't? All right, we're going to make a day of it. We're going to go on a road trip. We're going to go to the Knees, and we'll double back to Rock City. Again, gumbo, so yeah.
Yeah, it has to be a nice dry day.
Good days.
But you do need to be kind of careful when you go up to the knee as well, because rattlesnake dens.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that, if there's a bunch of snakes up there.
There is.
Ugh.
I haven't seen many up there. Of course, I am petrified of snakes. So a lot of times if we go up there, if we have a pickup truck, I just stay in the back of the truck and I don't get out because I am so petrified.
Snakes are disgusting.
Yes, they are. And so if you do go up there and hike around, I would advise wearing a good thick pair of boots.
That's probably smart.
Yes. But I've known people who've gone up there and they say they see a ton of them. And then I've known people who go up there and they have never even seen one. I think it depends on the time of year you go up there.
Well, I'd be the lucky one to see a whole bunch of them. So
I do know someone who went up there and found a snake den and put a GoPro into the snake den.
yeah.
It was...
No, not cool. That's just gross.
Spicy noodles.
Yeah, spicy noodles.
Yeah, the loud snakes with the shaky tails,
Yes,
too.
the loud, shaky, spicy noodles.
Yes. So, but I think because there's no water source on top of the knee, I think when they don't hibernate. Reptiles don't hibernate. There's another word for it. Brumate. Thank you,
Brumate?
Lynn.
Is that a word?
It is. It's what reptiles do instead of hibernating.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, I learned something today. Again.
Learning is good.
I know.
See, now you can drop that word brumate.
On my classes.
Yeah,
It'll
and they'll be
great.
like, he is the smartest teacher we've ever had.
No, they won't. No, they will not.
No, but they go up on the knee to brumate in their dens. And so I think, when you go up in winter, they're all sleeping or whatever.
Brumating.
Brumating.
That's a word. I'm going to have to look that up.
But then I think the spring and the fall is the time when you see them the most, because in the spring they're waking up and they're coming down to find water. And in the fall is when they're going back up to the dens. So...
All right, so go at the beginning of July is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I've been up there in the middle of summer, and I've had times when I'm up there and I haven't seen any. So.
Lynn is showing me that brumation is actually a word.
Yeah, it is a word.
Okay, well, I have to verify.
Well, we don't sit here and make words up.
I could see it.
Now I'm going to make up words just to
Sweet.
mess with you.
Hey, Shakespeare made up over 1,000. Why not us?
He did. Have you ever read a list of the words he made up?
It's amazing.
Now, you've gotten me off the subject and onto
It's
Shakespeare.
what I do. It's
And
what I do.
I could go on and have like a 3-hour podcast. Shakespeare is to me what basketball is to you.
Or curling.
No, don't.
Oh, I went that way.
Don't compare the bard. Oh.
Anyway, continue. Snakes.
No, give me a minute. My heart is cracking a little bit.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, we good?
Yeah, we're good.
No, we're not.
But the other thing about the knee that's really interesting too is it's like its own little ecosystem up there.
Really?
Yeah, this is really cool. You can find animals on top of the knee that you can't find around it. There's,
what?
Yeah, I've had some relatives come up and we go up there and they've caught lizards, horned toads.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And they live up there and they get the little lizards, and that's the only one that, I really know of. But, there's plants and animals up there that you can't find out on the prairie anywhere else.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know. Maybe just the elevation?
Yeah, maybe elevation. Maybe, having the spicy noodles wandering around. Maybe. I don't know.
Could be. It's very rare you'll see deer or anything up there just because there's no water.
Mm-hmm.
But the Teton River isn't far away. And so, I read that during hunting season, sometimes the deer will take refuge around the knee.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could see it. I mean, heck, on the bus last night, we almost smoked a deer there. So that was awesome.
Well, and I think it's interesting because hunting season is weird. Because I will see these huge herds of deer and antelope when I'm out driving around. And then it's like hunting season hits and they're gone.
To a point, yes, because
Well, then they come back.
I have a theory, though, and perhaps people far wiser than I would know the answer to this, but I maintain that the deer and the antelope and all of them know exactly where to go to avoid the active hunting grounds.
I think so.
I mean, it's bizarre.
It is bizarre because you'll see them everywhere. And then all of a sudden, like a day or two after hunting season starts, and I don't see them anywhere.
It's wild.
Yeah, it is. Like they know the hills to hide behind or whatever. But
So the question is, why are people going out to this area without a source of water?
well, like I said, the Teton River is nearby. When it was being homesteaded, again, this is getting into the development of the Nees community. But when it was being homesteaded, they were basically giving the land away. You know, you could have so many acres if you improved upon it. And,
Yeah.
you know, and so they would haul water from the river, you know.
Ooh.
Yeah. Until our wonderful United States government decided to put up the $1 million mistake.
Perfect.
And they put up the Tiber Dam and the Tiber Reservoir.
Right.
And when they left, they sold the water rights from Tiber to all the farmers in the area, and they could buy water rights. So now most everybody out there has what they call Tiber water, which is where it just runs right onto your property.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool. But, you know, there are some people who don't have Tiber water for whatever reason. When they were selling the water rights, they didn't buy them. So there is a community well
Right.
down there. So they go down to the community well and get their water and bring it back.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's really interesting out there too. There used to be a little town just east of the Big Knee, in between the Big Knee and the Little Knee. And if you go out there in the one field, you can still see the foundations of this little town of Janu.
Really?
And it was named Janu because do you either of you speak French?
No. Lynn does, not me.
So Janu is the French word for knee.
Huh.
So
Is that right?
Oui, monsieur.
Oh boy.
yeah. So, and I don't think that was the only little town out there.
I've heard there's a couple others. I'd
Yeah.
have to ask our friend of the museum, Janice, about that. 'Cause
Yeah,
she's a
and
legend.
If you ever come out that way, I can show you. I live over by the knee, so
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Road trip to your house.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah,
It'll be great.
yeah, super fun. Come over, we'll barbecue or
Sweet.
something, and you can meet my geese and my goats.
The Canadian Air Force.
They're not Canadian geese.
Oh, they're not?
No, they're I believe they're German goose. They're Emden. They're the white ones
Oh,
with the
okay.
blue eyes.
Okay.
They're so beautiful. Oh my gosh, they're like angels. Their wings, when they spread their wings out, they look like angels. They're so pretty. What? Why are you guys looking at me like that?
I said nothing. I said nothing.
So anyway,
But what? But with do we know how these formations actually, were made?
well,
Because I mean, I know the area you're talking about. And I mean, that is like tabletop flat.
yeah.
And then giant buttes.
Yeah. Well, I'd have to do a little bit more reading into the geology of it, but from the very minute reading that I have done, the sandstone that it's made out of, the sand is actually like a marine sand.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently at one time this must have been a big glacial lake.
Yeah, I
or
think we would
something.
still be in Glacial Lake, Missoula
Yeah.
area.
And so this was just a area that, like, I don't know, it's an island or something.
Interesting. I might
Yeah.
have to get in touch with a person we both know, Dr. Rob Thomas from Western.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if there's anybody that would know the answer to it,
Yeah.
he would.
And, down there in Dillon and at Western, they have such a great geology.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I know people from all over the world go down to Dillon to talk geology.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's where I went to school at. Go Dogs.
Yeah. No, I taught there briefly.
There you go.
Yeah.
But no, I'll have to call him and see
Yeah. 'Cause
Why?
I would like to have more information on it. And like I said, the Knees community story is just incredible too. If you ever get access to the book Echoes of the Knees,
Which is at the Conrad Transportation and Historical Museum.
It is.
For research, not for buying.
It's actually kind of a rare book to come across. I was telling you, my parents got one at an auction, and they went to this auction specifically for that book, Echoes of the Knees. So.
No, I know the ones up in Plentywood, Sheridan's Daybreaks. There's 2 or 3 volumes, and one of them is going for like hundreds on eBay. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's wild, but yeah, no, I was trying to find my copy of the Roadside Geology of Montana when we decided we were going to do this, but I fear I might have given it away.
Yeah,
Yeesh.
There's not a lot of information online about the Knees. I did find a Reddit thread about the knee. There was a picture of it, and it's a really interesting Reddit thread. Let me see if I can find it quick.
And you can also find it on I forget what it's called now, but it's called the Montana Memory Project. I think it might still be called the Montana Memory Project. It's a digitized version of Echoes of the Knees, history of Choteau County, Montana. You're officially in Choteau County?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, god dang.
Yeah, largest county in Montana, I believe.
Yeah, it'd be right up there.
And also one of the least populated.
I think that distinction belongs to I think it's Garfield County, or maybe it's Golden Valley County. One of the two is the least populated in Montana.
Yeah.
I think it's Golden Valley.
Okay, I found the Reddit thread about the knee. So it's a picture of the knee, and it says, to clarify, this is a place in Montana called the Knees, and I live in the Knees community. And the next post is just east of Brady. And then the first poster responds, indeed. And then the next one is, no S, Fort Benton here. And then the next one is truth. And that's it.
That is an intellectually riveting thread.
Isn't it? I think we need to add a few comments to that thread at some point. No, but it really is kind of a hidden gem of a place to visit. Like I said, the ecosystem is just amazing up there. There is also rumors that there is a unmarked settler graveyard up there, that there's at least 5 people who are buried up there, but they're not marked.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
That'd be really interesting. Because I know the...
interesting to do what?
Find them.
How? What?
So, fun fact.
Okay.
All right, keep up now.
Okay.
The Historical Society here in Montana, as well as the Montana History Foundation, they've offered up these grants where they will use cadaver-sniffing dogs to find unmarked graves. They were doing this in... I think it might have been Fort Shaw they were doing this. I know they were doing it at different spots around the state. They would bring these dogs in to what was suspected to be a graveyard, but there was no stones or any markings of whatsoever there. So they bring these dogs in, and they would find where these people were buried at. I mean, it's totally fascinating.
And then what?
So from what I understand, they did get markers. And I don't know if they know exactly who's in which spot.
Oh, thank God. I thought you were going to say they did something else. And I was
dug them up?
Yes.
I've done that before, but anyway.
What?
Yeah, I used to work for a cemetery. So that's a story for another day. But anyway.
Well, I mean, it's one thing to in a cemetery, you have to move people around sometimes, but to just here's some poor soul who lost their life on the prairie and they got laid to rest. And then, some doofus comes along and is like, oh, cool, let's dig them up.
Well, isn't that archaeology?
Yes, but you're not an archaeologist.
It's cool when Indiana Jones
does it, but when I do it.
Well, it's the hat, It's the hat.
Yeah.
If you have the right kind of hat when you're doing
That's
it.
fair. No, But no, that is a thing that you can do. You can get grants to bring these dogs in to see if there is actually a cemetery there.
That would be.
And I mean, if you said there was a community there, I'd imagine there must be somewhere.
Well, I think I'm not sure if the cemetery would be on top of the knee. I think that was pre the community.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was when it was open range. And
is there like another separate cemetery down below, or?
I'm not sure if there was one. There was a church in Juneau. I know that.
Right.
Because some of the buildings from Juneau survive.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are in Fort Benton at the Fort Benton Historical Society. And then,
which is an awesome place. We love Fort Benton.
Yes. And they have an amazing, last time I was there, it's been a few years, but they do have an amazing exhibit with all these little buildings that they've acquired from little towns. And they sort of built this little town, and it's really fascinating.
It really is.
The jail is creepy. Oh my goodness.
Go out there for the summer celly that they do every summer.
What's that?
It's their big summer celebration, summer festival. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah?
A lot of fun.
We'll have to take a road trip.
We're getting all sorts of road trips
We
in.
are. I think my summer is getting pretty booked up.
God dang. All right. Love that.
So, but the other interesting thing about that area out there with the knee, and this isn't so much the knee itself, but have you ever heard of the Bootlegger Trail?
Oh, Lord, yes.
Yes, the Bootlegger Trail runs right by the knee, right by the big knee. And that road has an interesting history.
Oh, yeah.
So, do you know why it's called the Bootlegger Trail? I'm sure you do.
Oh, yeah. Prohibition, all that fun stuff ties into the Hoop Up Trail.
Yep, it's the road that goes from Canada to Great Falls that you could take to avoid going through Shelby and any other towns where you might get picked up for haulin' hooch.
That's right.
Yep.
That demon rum.
Yeah, and this one fella who's written a few passages in this Echoes of the Knees was talking about in one of the passages him and his dad when it was the wet season and the road turned into mud, them having to go out and pull these Studebakers out of the mud because they all drove Studebakers down it, and of course it got muddy and awful, and they all got stuck. And so they said a lot of the farmers out there could replenish their snake bite medicine by pulling out the Studebakers. So
love it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just kind of an introduction to the knee. And
so you're planning on we're going to talk more about it?
Well, I'm hoping we can get a special guest on to talk about more about the community out there and the history of the people settling in the area.
All right, I look forward to it because I know very little about this.
Oh, it's so fascinating. And a lot of the names that you hear of the families that live out there are descendants of the original homesteaders, which is really cool.
So generational.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people out there who have been out there for generations, and they are really great people.
Interesting.
Yeah. So.
But yes, if you have any stories about the community of the Knees, please drop us a line at 406-411-podcast@gmail.com.
Yes, and we'll try to put up some pictures of our road trip out there when we get out there, if you haven't been up there.
When the weather gets better.
When the weather gets better and the snakes are hiding.
Yes.
The snakes are all sleeping right now.
They are. They are.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, so hit us up on our Gmail if you have any stories or if you'd like to come on and chat about the Knees community or anything.
Or if you even have you don't necessarily have to live out there. If you have a great story about being out there doing some sort of shenanigan or another, come on. We love stories.
We love stories, and we want to hear them all. So you can find us on Facebook at 406-411 and on YouTube and Spotify.
Yeah, drop us a like, a follow, give us a comment.
Yes, and if you can't think of anything to say, just put in a knee emoji.
Is that a thing?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, I'll take your word on it.
I think that's all we got.
That's all I got for right now, so be good and be nice.
All right, talk to you later. Bye-bye.